Hey guys, how you going? So it is the end of April here on the Homestead. So let's see what we've been up to this month. Hey guys, how you going? So sorry this video is going up a little bit late, but the end of April turned out to be very busy. I've got a couple of friends who've come over from the UK. They've needed a bit of help, so I've been going over there to help them out. But that's why this video's coming to you late. It is actually the start of May already, so happy Star Wars Day, happy May the 4th be with you. But for the time being, I'll show you what I've been up to here. Been doing mostly building tree guards because the sheep have suddenly taken an interest in eating every single sapling I have. But I'll show you what I have done, and let's see what we've been up to this month here on the homestead. Okay, have a good one. There you go. So I know it's a bit misty this morning, but as you can see, all of these little sticks and wire things, these are all tree guards. Every single one of them is a sapling I've planted. This is where the sheep live, but there's actually I'm trying to grow a forest, a fruit and nut forest here, and all of the saplings, I mean some of the bigger plum trees that were more well established are fine. As you can see, they've been eaten off to the deer line, which is actually a sheep line, which is about here, but everything smaller than that I've had to guard, and I've had to redesign and rebuild guards time and time again, and restake them. But I'll show you a close-up of a couple just to show you where the design started and where it eventually finished. Alright, so very basically this was the start of the tree guard design, and it was originally just the metal fence, and because the metal has little feet on it, little spikes, they were just pushed into the ground, but as you can see, with it being dented here and here, the sheep were actually pushing them over. So the next step was to put in that stake there, and that stake goes down into the ground, and it's cable tied to the metal fence, and that actually stopped the sheep knocking them over. But then the sheep were just crushing them, so then we put in an opposite stick to hold the metal outwards, but they continued to crush them, so we put in 2 more sticks, and that's fine for these very, very small saplings. But just over there I'll show you what happens when they get a little bit bigger. So after the saplings get a little bit bigger, it turned out that Chloe was tall, so same get up, but with the metal on the inside and chicken wire on the outside. And what was happening is Chloe was just reaching over and just eating the tops of the leaves. So then we put on another few feet of chicken wire, and that seems to have stopped it. We've not had any incidents, but as soon as the leaves get too close to the edges, they still get nibbled on, but at least the core of the trees are fine now. Right, so then it turns out that after that level of security, they were still pushing some of the wire in, so I came up with using these old barrel hoops, and these barrel hoops, I just had them lying around. They were here when I got here. I had loads of them, and so I put the barrel hoops in, and they actually hold the wire out. Unfortunately, this made the wire so sturdy that Chloe could then stand on the wire. It wouldn't collapse, and she could stand on it and reach the higher branches, and so then all of the tree got stripped until I put in a massive pole, more barrel hoops, and that finally protected the last little bit of canopy I have on this very beaten about apple tree. But yeah, so the evolution of the tree guards took many forms. There is actually one even bigger than this, which again I need to reinforce, but I'll show you that one last. So this is almost the last evolution of the tree guard. As you can see, I ended up putting massive fence around it so that she couldn't reach it. Unfortunately she could, so temporarily what I've done is chucked a load of sticks and tree bit debris around it to keep her actually away. But what we're going to do today is we're going to put another layer of wire up even higher, all the way around the top just to keep this safe. This is a staghorn. It's a lovely tree, produces beautiful foliage in the autumn. It doesn't actually produce any fruit. It's an ornamental tree, but it's a very nice tree. So we'll try and protect it a little bit better than it is now. But this is the final stage of the evolution of the tree guards. Hey guys, so the peas this month have done very well. They've got pretty big. These ones are doing fine. I've done a couple of planting things, so these are spaced out in lines. I thought maybe if they've got a bit more room they'd actually grow better, but as we come across this line is still a line, but over here I just planted a bunch of seeds in one area just to see what would happen, and it seems, I mean, they're a good, on average, 6 to 10 inches higher than the other peas. There's lots more flowers, lots more foliage growth. It seems like a little bit of competition actually does them wonders. Maybe it's the internal supports because they're grabbing onto each other. It seems like the peas with better supports are actually growing better, so maybe it's not so much the spacing. It is actually the supporting of the pea plant that produces more growth. It's something to experiment with, but for now I think the dense planting method definitely works better. But we've got lots of pea plants. The peas, of course, will be fed to the birds. I'll eat a few, but the ducks love them, the chickens love them. I'm sure the sheep will eat them as well. But all of the pea plants themselves, once I've taken, when I come to harvest these, what I do is cut them off at the ground, leave the roots in the soil to rot down and release all that nitrogen. But then I take the peas off, and the pea plants will go up into the hayloft where we'll dry them out, and the sheep actually, well, Chloe does, she loves the pea plants. There were a few in there this year, and any time there was a pea plant in her hay, she would go rooting through the hay, find a pea plant and eat that first. So I think that means they like them. So this year there's going to be lots and lots of pea hay for them. But the sheep are doing fine, and I'll show you those next. So the sheep, here they are. They're actually in a different enclosure to the one they normally are in. This is one of the chicken enclosures. But as you can see, because the sheep aren't in here, the grass grows pretty long, and even though the grass grows long, it looks like Chloe's far more interested in eating the apple trees, along with Ruffles. I don't really mind her eating these trees at all. They're well established trees. She can eat all the lower branches without harming the trees. But yeah, after a few days of not having the sheep in here, the grass gets very long, and so they're in here today, probably tomorrow as well, and they'll just knock all this back right down. But as you can see, they're all doing fine, looking pretty tasty. Hopefully one of them's going to breed Chloe soon. They're growing horns, the little boys. I don't know. I mean, they're at the age where they can be sexually active. Whether they are sexually active or not is debatable. I haven't seen any evidence of mounting or anything. But that might be because Chloe's just, I mean, she's a lot bigger than they are. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll have some babies soon, maybe we won't. But they're all looking nice and fluffy, and they're off eating all the foliage. Well, this is the first crop of the year. It's garlic. It's almost ready. I'll be cutting scallions soon, and so in a couple of weeks after that, they'll be ready to harvest. I've been through and weeded this, and we've had a very heavy rain, so a lot of them have fallen over. They're fine, but we'll stop them going to seed, and then we'll get these out. This will be the first crop, as I say, a couple of weeks maybe, and we'll have ourselves a lot of garlic to peel again. So the potatoes doing okay. Got lots of lovely foliage in these ones, and this one's a complete mystery. Planted 3 potatoes in each thing. In each of the others, 3 or 2 germinated. It just seems that I've been unlucky with this one. Not a single potato plant in there. Probably just going to dump that one out soon. But yeah, potatoes are doing fine, and these ones will be Christmas dinner. Speaking of Christmas dinner, reminds me of Halloween in October. These are the pumpkins, this year's pumpkins. Not planted that long ago, all from one of my favourite knobbliest pumpkins from last year. They're all doing pretty well. They definitely need full sun though. The ones at this end of the field get a lot more sun than the ones at that end, and they are growing a lot faster, and they're already, I mean, this one is 2 or 3 times the size of the little one down this end. So yeah, a full sun location for these pumpkins. Maybe as the sun gets higher and higher over the year, we'll end up with the other ones taken over as well. But for now, that's probably about a month's worth of growth on the pumpkins, all looking very healthy. I actually scatter planted these, lots, well not scatter planted, but loads of seeds were planted all the way along this line, handfuls and handfuls of them, because I didn't know how fertile they were. I didn't know how many were going to germinate, but loads germinated, and I had to thin down to this. But I think that's definitely a preferable planting method for pumpkins. Chuck loads of seeds in and just keep the strongest plants. But yeah, I mean, they've done fine. So this year's grape harvest looks like it's going to be insane. All of these little things, these are grape flowers, but they're all going to turn into grapes. Each one of those little bunches of things is going to end up as a little bunch of grapes, and I've never seen them this covered in grapes. I'm not 100% happy about the weight that's going to go onto this wire support. It might need some extra support, just because the weight from these grapes is going to be insane. But every grape variety and plant location that I've got this year has done the same thing. They're all completely covered, so it is going to be an absolutely bumper year for grapes. So if anyone wants to come over next year, there'll be a hell of a lot of wine that will need drinking, because that's pretty much all I do with the grapes. I can only feed so many to the chickens. If you've got any ideas about what I can do with a glut of grapes, then other than wine making, then let me know, and we'll see what we can do.